Hello friend, this is Akash Misir here and welcome back to my YouTube channel, that is Mechanical Engineering Make Easy. In that I makes the videos which are going to teach you all the concepts of gate, and in future I will come up with another types of videos also which are related to mechanical engineering, and which will give you very easiest understanding of all the concepts. And this is the sixth lecture of manufacturing processes. Okay, but before that, go to my channel, check playlist, or otherwise you can I have attached all the playlist in I button, so go to I button and watch my all playlist what I have designed for you, and I am providing you all the content free of cost. So please like, share and subscribe my channel and share to the peoples which generally needs, because this content in case of tuitions they are going to provide after paying 40,000 or etc. And I am trying to give you all the content free of cost on YouTube, so please share. So without any wasting any time, let's begin the sixth lecture of manufacturing, that is nothing but the metal forming processes. Okay, today onwards some lectures will be have topic metal forming processes. So today's lecture is very brief of metal forming processes, what they are. The metal forming processes have two categories, that is bulk deformation and sheet metal working. In case of bulk deformation, there are a number of processes like rolling, forging, extrusion, wire or bar drawing. Okay, bulk deformation means we are going to deform material very high amount, and sheet metal working means we are going to work on sheet like bending the sheet. Drawing means what exactly the drawing, if any sheet material is there, likewise, and this will be the die and here will be the punch. So after that what will be the shape of this? Okay, and the punch will be inside to this. Okay, this is called as drawing. Again, depending on the height and diameter, the drawing have two types, that is deep drawing and shallow drawing. Okay, we will discuss in later on, but only the idea of that drawing, what exactly drawing means: working of sheet metal or forming the section of sheet metal, that is cup section or etc. And this is rolling, forging, extrusion and wire drawing. In case of rolling, we are going to roll the material. In case of forging, with the help of higher pressure, we are going to apply on the material and deform that material. Extrusion means again with the help of ram we are going to apply the pressure, and the opening of that die will provide us required shape. Then wire drawing, wire in extrusion and wire drawing very small difference, and that is nothing but in case of extrusion the pushing force we have to apply means, take into consideration one figure. Okay, here is the ram and we have to apply force from here. The material is here and that will go from here. This is the extrusion process, and exactly reverse of this is the wire drawing. Mean what will happen here, all the material is there and we will pull this by the force, that is called as the wire drawing. And another difference is, in case of extrusion the diameter of this is higher, and in case of wire drawing the diameter is smaller amount, like in mm, 1 2 mm or etc. Okay, this is called as wire drawing. This is all brief classification of metal forming process. Now we will move towards next topic. So you are enjoying my session, then like my session, so that I will get to know that I am moving in right path. Then material behavior in metal forming. Material behavior in metal forming means how that material behaves while deformation is occurring. Okay, what the parameters they are going to change, the stress and strain etc. So we have one graph with us. Okay, here is true stress, and at the bottom there is true strain. It is denoted by E and it is denoted by sigma. Okay, then what happens, the graph goes likewise, this is elastic region, and after that likewise, and this is again. So I will discuss you all the points. Okay, this is the yield point start of, okay, this is the yield point, and this is the point from which plastic region forms, region starts. Okay, the yield point, and the yield point is nothing but the start of plastic region, means from next all the points, for all the values of strain and stress, the plastic region is there, and before the yield point this is elastic region. Elastic region, this is plastic region. Then the start of necking. Okay, as this curve goes down, then the necking is started. Start of necking, and this is projector curve. If the necking is not happened, means if there is not necking happened, then the curve will go likewise. This is the projector curve of that. This is yield point starting of necking from here. Okay, this is projected curve if necking is not going to happen. This is elastic region, true strain, true stress. Okay, this is all about graph, and the material behaves likewise. If we are going to increase the stress, ultimately strain increases, and up to elastic limit that material regains its original dimension. But after elastic limit, that is after yield point, the material will deform plastically, means that material is not going to regain in its original dimensions and original position. But after that point also, if we are crossing this limit, then the necking will happen, and after necking the fracture will happen. At this point the fracture will happen. Okay, that these all the graph we are going to cover in materials part afterwards. In that we will going to discuss all the points in between that graph. But before that you should know the elastic region, plastic region, starting of necking, yield point, and projected curve. Okay, draw this figure if you need. And from this graph we have some formulae like stress equal to K into e raised to n. So this is one formula. Stress is directly proportional to e raised to n. Up to elastic region, that stress is directly proportional to E, means n will be 1. But after that the that value becomes e raised to n, and n is different than 1, and this is constant, and that constant is strength coefficient. Okay, that is strength coefficient. Okay, this is stress we know, this is strain we know, and what is n? N is nothing but strain hardening exponent. Okay, strain hardening exponent. So I have given you that formula, that is nothing but sigma equal to K e raised to n. K is nothing but the constant which we called as the strength coefficient. E is strain, sigma is stress, and then n is nothing but strain hardening exponent. Means after the yield point there strain hardening occurs, and that exponent there. Okay, then yes, and this is the graph which we are going, the name for graph is flow curve. Okay, the name for graph is flow curve, and it is only going to satisfy when the cold working is happening. And what is the cold working? The temperature we are not going to increase, that is nothing but the cold working. Cold working means the temperature is not higher than recrystallization temperature, and recrystallization temperature 427 degree Celsius is the recrystallization temperature, and if we are going to work above 427 degree Celsius, then the recrystallization will occur, and that is the hot working. And if we are working below 427 degree Celsius, then that is cold working. Okay, this is basic difference between cold working and hot working, and that difference occurs because of recrystallization temperature. So draw this figure, note down this formula also, and the figure's name is flow curve, and it is satisfies only the cold working condition, not hot working condition. For hot working, as grain refinement takes place, the work's behavior will change. Okay, that what materials behavior will change. Then flow stress. What exactly flow stress is? That is nothing but the instantaneous value of stress. Flow stress means instantaneous value of stress, means at any point. Okay, if this is the graph, means at this point this is the flow stress. If we are providing this much strain, then this is the flow stress. If we are providing this much strain, then this will be flow stress. Means according to what value at that instant we have, that is nothing but the flow stress. That is instantaneous value of flow stress. And this flow stress, instantaneous value of flow stress, to keep metal flowing, means the metal is should be flow, like we are going to apply the force. Okay, if this is one ram, I am taking example of extrusion for understanding purpose only, and the material is here, that material should be flowing, and that's why we have to apply some stress. That instantaneous stress, because that stress is going to change according to the position and according to the time. Because what happens, at the starting we need to apply the more force, because number of parameters are there, like static friction and etc etc. Likewise, that flow stress may vary according to time. That's why the instantaneous value of stress which we have to apply, and because of that value, the to keep the material flowing. Okay, that's the value of flow stress, and that flow stress is k e raised to n. Same formula what we have taken into consideration while that graph, sigma equal to k e raised to n, same is here, sigma f equal to k e raised to n. That is nothing but the instantaneous sigma, so the E will be instantaneous strain. Okay, so E will be instantaneous strain. Other parameters are same, strength coefficient and strain hardening exponent. Okay, so this is the formula for flow stress. Then next is average or mean flow stress. Average or mean flow stress. Okay, so what's the formula for mean or average flow stress? Sigma f average, which is equal to k e raised to n upon n plus 1, that is strain hardening exponent plus 1. We have to put it at bottom, that is the average flow stress, k e raised to n upon n plus 1. Okay, this is the average flow stress. And strain during deformation, this is the instantaneous strain or strain during deformation. When the deformation is occurring, that is nothing but the instantaneous strain, or in other words, strain during deformation. So note down this formula and what E I have given you idea in previous minute also, but again, if you haven't taken note of that name, you can take this name also. That name was instantaneous strain or strain during material is flowing. Then there is one graph which shows the value of sigma and sigma f. Okay, this is sigma, this is E, that is strain and stress and strain. And what's the graph look like? Okay, the graph will go likewise. This is yield point, we know, and after that yield point only the flow of material is going to occur. So the sigma f and sigma f average both will be lies upward from yield point. So the sigma f may be here, so sigma f average will be here. Okay, so sigma f is higher than sigma f average. This is the graph which shows the value of sigma f and sigma f average. So draw this figure, or I don't think that this figure is too much important, but this term is important, that from which point the sigma f occurs. Okay, sigma f varies from yield point to the instantaneous value, that may be up to this point, means that nicking point. Okay, but up to that point the sigma f varies, and so maximum sigma f will be at this point and the average sigma f will be at the center of that. Okay, and sigma f value occurs above yield point. These are 2 to 3 points that you should remember from this graph. Okay, bonus point for today's lecture, that is for lead and tin. For lead and tin, recrystallization temperature is below room temperature. Okay, for lead and tin are such a materials, they have recrystallization temperature below room temperature, and I have given you idea about recrystallization temperature. The temperature above which the recrystallization occurs means the grain refinement happens. You can say grain refinement happens above recrystallization temperature. So, and the recrystallization temperature of lead and tin is less than room temperature. Okay, this is first bonus point. Then for zinc and cadmium, that recrystallization temperature is nearly room temperature. Recrystallization temperature is nearly equal to room temperature for zinc and cadmium. This is also too much important, and why I gives you always values in bonus point, because these values are common values and that values are going to ask while numerical solving in GATE. Okay, and next is melting point of tungsten. Melting point of tungsten, which is equal to 3400 degrees Celsius, and recrystallization temperature of tungsten is 1130 degrees Celsius. Okay, 1133 degrees Celsius. Recrystallization temperature of tungsten is 1133 degrees Celsius and melting point of tungsten is 3400 degrees Celsius. And what's the relation between melting point and recrystallization temperature is, the recrystallization temperature is 1/3 to half of melting point. Okay, 1/3 means 0.33 and 2/2 means 0.5. Okay, this is the case, that is 0.33 to 0.5 of melting point, that is nothing but the recrystallization temperature. Means you can calculate any every material's recrystallization temperature, that will lie on between these two values. Okay, then I have one bonus point, and which is too much important in case of steels. Okay, in case of steels there are two temperature regions. In between that temperature regions the strength of steel increases, because of that increase in strength we can't work on steels. Okay, so what the temperatures are, the range of 150 degrees Celsius to 350 degrees Celsius and 750 to 850. 750 degrees Celsius to 850 degrees Celsius. So what happens, as the temperature increases in the range of 150 to 350 and 750 to 850, ultimately the yield strength also increases. Means what that point, yield point, and that strength of that yield point, that is nothing but the yield strength. And if yield strength increases, then the working, we can't do work as yield strength is going to increase as increase in temperature, so that material will not go into plastic region. Okay, and that's the limitation. That's why the steels, for the steels we can't work that steel in these ranges 150 to 350 and 750 to 850. Apart from these temperature ranges we can work on steels, but in between these temperature ranges we can't work. Okay, so this is all about what I have designed for today's lecture. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. And in next lecture I will come up with rolling. We have given the brief classification of metal forming processes. In that I have rolling, forging, extrusion and etc, and here the sheet metal working and etc. So I will come up with one by one. So next lecture I have taken the rolling for next lecture. So we will meet again. Thank you friends.